All right, many people who want to get on with me today. I want to hear from some of them. Let's go first here to Marta from Miami, Florida. Marta, what is on your mind today?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello? Yes, I can.
Oh, what I was actually thinking about, I live in Miami, Florida.
Marta, you're cutting in and out. All right, so I can barely hear you. I heard you live in Miami and then you immediately cut out.
So most of my family is Cuban American, and they keep using the argument that Biden is a communist and he's a socialist. And I just want to know, what can I say to them, or if you have like a good article you can recommend, just so I can like rebut that argument.
Listen, I have not seen anybody seriously be able to answer the question, which Biden policy is a socialist policy? So I'd be curious if you were to say, okay, let's actually examine that. What Biden policy is a socialist policy? Usually that falls apart and then they move on to a different argument, which maybe would be easier to deal with.
Yeah, because I tell them, I'm like, it's not going to be like that. They're like, oh no, it's going to be like Cuba, and we're going to be, struggling for food with like a libreta. I'm like,
Listen,
it's
I
not
mean,
going to be like
say to
that.
them, was it like Cuba when Barack Obama was president for 8 years? Because Joe Biden was the vice president. If it wasn't like Cuba during those 8 years, why would it be like that under Joe Biden?
Yeah, and then they bring up, the whole Cuban Missile Crisis and Kennedy, and it's just,
What does
I don't
that
know
have
what
to
to
do
tell
with
them.
Joe Biden? I think in a lot of these here, what you're getting to, Marta, is that in a lot of these situations, it's not really about you explaining the truth. It's about just coming up with something to say so they can perpetuate their own misunderstandings. And you might, I mean, it could go that way. It could go, Biden's a socialist. And you say, well, what's one socialist policy? They say, well, it's going to become like Cuba. And then you would say, well, was it like Cuba when Obama was president? And then they would say, yeah, but look at what Kennedy did during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now we're 50 years ago, right? They don't really want to know anything. And sometimes you have to just acknowledge that.
Yeah, that's basically been the exact argument for
Yeah.
months and months and months.
That I don't envy you, Marta. And, for
Yeah.
people who are calling in and may not know, the American Hispanic community is a very left wing community in total. But the most conservative subsection of Latin Americans is Cuban Americans. And it is usually this reflexive anti-Castro thing that the ones who came to the U.S. were against the Castro regime. They associate the Castro regime with Democrats. Why? I don't know. And you end up in situations like Marta's situation.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Great to hear from you, Marta. Appreciate the call. One of our sponsors is privacy.com. They're giving you $5 when you sign up for their completely free service at privacy.com/Pakman. I've been using Privacy for a little over a year now. You've heard me talk about it before. It's a lifesaver. And here's how it works. Takes just a couple of minutes to set up. Anytime you buy something online or on the phone, instead of actually using your real credit card number, the Privacy app and the browser plugin let you give each company a randomized virtual credit card number that you create out of thin air. It'll even autofill the card number with one click. And the payment is taken out of your checking account without the merchant ever knowing your real information. So this allows you to keep your banking information secure, but also to take control of your finances. You can create up to 12 of these virtual credit cards a month. You can set spending limits. You can freeze them. You can delete them anytime you want. So when you do this, it means you're not going to be charged when you don't want to be, because you can destroy the virtual card number right after using it, which, for instance, I love using free trials because I know I won't be charged when the trial is over if I use a virtual credit card number. You're keeping your identity private by not telling companies who you are. You're keeping your bank or credit card info protected against data breaches and identity theft. And it's free. There's no catch whatsoever. But if you want, Privacy also offers a $10 a month plan that gives you 1% cash back and lets you create 36 credit cards a month, and a $25 a month plan tailored more for small businesses where you can create 60 card numbers a month and much more. But definitely go ahead and at least get started with the free plan. You'll protect your financial info. Companies can't charge you unexpectedly. And like I said, you'll get $5 to spend when you sign up at privacy.com/Pakman.